I'm Gerald Wang, and just a few weeks ago I finished my first semester here at Rice. So I thought it'd be nice to make a video talking about what I did during my first year and give you guys some insight on what it's like to be in college. My first semester at Rice, I took 16 credit hours. Took 2 introductory classes, Comp 140 and Econ 100. These classes both I highly recommend, even if you're not a comp major or econ major. And I think I said this a little bit in my day in the life video when I was walking to econ, but Nico, the professor for econ, is incredible. You have to experience him at least once if you're at Rice. The next class I took was a mandatory freshman writing class that every freshman had to take. For me, I chose specifically FWIS 155, which was titled Fakes, Forgeries, and Stolen Art. As the title mentions, it's talking about art forgeries. We basically write about stolen artworks, talk about how exactly they impact the art world. It was not something that I really wanted to write about, but with FWIS, a lot of times you don't get the FWIS class that you want. So for me, unfortunately, I got something that was not my first choice. But in the end, I did really enjoy the class. Course of Fuqua was really helpful in improving my writing skills. And a lot of it goes down towards just how much effort you're willing to put into the class, basically. If you're willing to put a lot of effort into it, the grade comes with it. You learn a lot about writing. Of course, if you don't, then it's gonna be a little bit of a rough time for you. I also took multivariable calculus. This was primarily because I AP'd out of Calc 1 and 2 from just AP exams, which I highly recommend any of you guys who are taking AP classes, please do. It'll save you a lot of time, a lot of hassle, especially physics. If you have a physics requirement for your major, then just take AP Physics C, AP out of that. You're gonna save so much effort if you do that. As for the class itself, I had Professor Orkin, who I thought was an incredible teacher. She was really well at lecturing, kept us engaged during the entire time. For my last 3 credit hours, 2 of them was for RCEL, which I believe is called the Rice Center for Engineering Leadership. It's kind of like a leadership class for engineer-specific majors. I didn't think too highly of the class, to be honest. It's again one of those classes to where if you put in the effort to get something out of it, then you will get leadership experience, leadership skills out of it. But otherwise, it's kind of like a blow-off class. And then my final credit hour was a lifetime physical activity program for LPAP, which I took yoga. And definitely, it's a popular LPAP class, so you probably won't get it your first semester, but definitely just try to get yoga whenever you can. I loved it. And Professor Bergmeister, she's really fun to talk to, really nice, grading's easy, just 1 or 2 writing assignments every couple months. And then you get to do yoga, which is a lot of fun. Yeah, in the end, all of these combined to a total of 16 hours out of a maximum of 18 hours that you could take at Rice. And if you can see up here is the class schedule. It was pretty nice. All the classes were kind of compact, fit together pretty well, which is something that you really want to look into when you're making your own schedules. As for any extracurriculars that I did, I only really did 1. I was in 3 clubs. I was in the Rice CS Club, the Robotics Club, but the one that I mainly focused on was called Rice Apps, which is a student-run app development club. It does require an interview to get in, and I think I got pretty lucky. Despite being a freshman, I still got into the club. I definitely recommend if you're a software engineer, if you're a computer science major, or something related to that field, definitely try this club out. It's super fun. You get to be on a team to design an app that helps the Rice community out. So for me, I worked on what was called Rice Carpool, which helped students around Rice gather and organize carpooling events from here to the airports around Houston. And of course, we're looking to expand it out to other places as well. You gain a lot of experience in the kind of the tech industry wise, because we focus mainly on the high industry, so that involves having sprint and scrum session weekly, which is what they do in the industry. But yeah, overall, highly recommend that club. If you are anything related to CS, try it out. I think you'll love it. As for the other 2 clubs, the Robotics Club and the CS Club, the CS Club is kind of just a club that if your CS majors hop on, it's more of a networking club where you get to know other people rather than actually any events going on. And the Robotics Club, I joined, but I didn't really do much into it. It's kind of for electrical and mechanical engineers, something that I considered getting into, but in the end really didn't do much. Overall, I say this first semester that I had was relatively moderate in terms of workload. I did almost reach 18 credit hours, but still The classes weren't too hard. A lot of them were intro classes, and then, you know, I had like an LPAP. Most of the time was dedicated to the comp class actually, Comp 140, which you'll find if you're a comp major that a lot of your time is dedicated towards comp classes. I say this is like a pretty good schedule to start off the first semester. You know, if you're a CS major looking into business related things, which was kind of what I was looking into at the beginning, definitely consider these classes, as I feel like they really combine together really well, and you know, your schedule won't be too stressful to start off your school year. So for my second semester here at Rice, I took 17 credit hours. Honestly, it was a lot harder than the first semester, mainly because of one class, and that was called Comp 182. It's the second comp class that we're supposed to take for all CS majors. And the reason it's hard isn't really because of the level of difficulty of the class, it's just more of the jump between Comp 140, our intro comp class, and then this class. I think I've spent like 20 to 30 hours every 2 weeks working on the homeworks that they assign. And then on top of that, you have to study for the midterms and the finals that are worth like 20 to 30% of your grade. So that class in particular was most of my workload. But for other classes I took, there was Elect 220, which is another requirement for CS majors. It's called Fundamentals of Computer Engineering. To be honest, that class was just your typical kind of blow-up class. You can go to class if you want, or you cannot. It's one of those classes where I think you can get a lot out of if you work really hard at it, if you learn the material. But it's also a class where you can get away with an A without knowing pretty much anything, to be honest. Of course, the professors, I'd say the Professor Luai, he's also the chair of the CS department, and this is for 182. He's honestly an amazing teacher and makes 182 hard, but also you learn so much from it. As for Elect 220, Professor Seymour, he's a nice guy, he's a good guy, but he is a little bit on the boring side. So for the other class I took a class called Busy 296, which was business communications, and the reason for that was because I myself am not that good at communicating, and if you want a YouTube channel or just anything in life in general, communicating is crucial, it's very necessary in life. This class definitely is a class where you can get a lot out of if you work hard at it, if you learn the material that she's teaching you. Grade-wise, it is a little shaky since it's a business class, and at Rice, the business school curves everyone down. I think they have to have a GPA of like 3.5 for the class average, which means some people they get curved down, and that's not really good if you're going for a 4.0. But other than that, I'd say the professor is really nice. Lydia, she's the professor for Busy 296. Also, Shell is another professor for the same class. I took Lydia, and honestly, she's amazing. She teaches really well. Her grading is a little bit harsh, but again, you learn a lot from the class, and I took away so much from the class. For the last 6 credit hours, 3 of them were dedicated towards linear algebra, which was the class after multivariable calculus. For me, I was a year ahead in math, primarily because I took AP Calc in high school, so I passed Calc 1 and Calc 2. Of course, there are people that take linear algebra way after, and they kind of just wait till junior or senior year. For me, I just kind of wanted to get math over with, and since this was the last really math kind of class, I just thought it would be nice to get it out of the way. Professor Wang is his name. He's really amazing. He teaches so well. And you really need to know the material if you want to do well in the class, which is another reason why I think you should take it. He forces you to learn the material really well, to know exactly what things are happening in linear algebra, which again just makes the class more worthwhile to take. My final 3 credit hours was for music theory, and I would say that the reason I took it was for 2 reasons. One is that I'm interested in music composition, I really like music, so learning about how to compose music, the theory behind it was really interesting for me. Also because I needed a D1 class to fill my distribution requirements. If you guys don't know, for Rice you require a total of 9 classes in distribution, 3 in D1, 3 in D2, and then 3 in D3. They're basically like D1's the languages and arts, D2 is kind of social sciences, and then D3 is all the STEM related classes. So since I'm a comp sci, cog sci double major, kind of the D3s and D2 classes were already taken care of from requirements, and that just left D1s. The class is also kind of a pretty easy A, so that's even more beneficial if you would like to take the class. And then I remember for our final project, we had to compose music, and a professor, he and a couple of colleagues actually played our compositions at the end of the year. So I remember all of us gathered around, we all were eating donuts, and he and his colleagues were just playing all of our compositions for the final day, which honestly was a great way to end the year. Overall, I'd say this second semester, like I said before, was a lot of work, and mainly that came from 182. But if you're a CS major, don't be afraid of this class. You're gonna learn a lot from it. It's a lot of work, but it's incredibly beneficial for you in the future. And if you're not taking CS, then I would suggest you not take this class unless you really want to just stretch yourself with work. As for extracurriculars, I focused on mainly 2 things. One was Rice Apps, which I did in the fall, and I continued to spring semester. We actually launched our carpool app during the spring, and it's super exciting because I think our final headcount was like 500 to 600 people using our website, which is honestly incredible seeing that my work or our team's work all combined and people are actually using the product that we're making. And then the other extracurricular is a startup that I'm working on with some friends of mine called A440. We're still in the build phase right now, but essentially it'll be like Twitch TV, where we'll live stream classical music concerts. So that means symphonies, orchestras, string groups, brass groups. Definitely in the future, I'm looking to reach out more and work on things like this YouTube channel, as well as like a personal website that I'm trying to build, which I'm actually starting over this summer. So those were all the classes and extracurricular activities that I did for my first year at Rice. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you have any questions about classes, school, Rice, or just life in general, feel free to leave it down in the comments below. I'm always happy to answer any questions that you guys have. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.